All right, I'm here with Mark Mussafer. I really appreciate you, jumping on and joining me for this. Um, so, Mark, tell me a little bit about, your business. Just how did you get into entrepreneurship altogether? Just tell me a little bit about the business that you have right now, too.
Okay, well, sure. So I've started an insurance agency called the Mussafer Agency, and it's basically through Quility Insurance. So what Quility does is they let you start your own business. It's very entrepreneurial. They handle all the back office and middle office support. They help you get agents contracted. They handle the commissions. They have all the software, all the tools you need. So I'd started that about 2.5 years ago. I had been for 25 years, had been in the alcohol beverage distribution business my whole career. So that was more of an 8 to 5 role, worked for a company my whole life and started out as a family business and then worked for the company that took over our business statewide for another 10 years. And then in 2019, I started my insurance agency. So, that's been going well. It's a deal where, you don't trade time for money. You're in business for yourself, but you have to have your pipeline full. You have to have a full activity. So the two big things about our job is production and recruiting. They have to be simultaneously moving forward all at the same time. But so that's been going well. I'm also I've got a few other things going on, so talking about keeping your pipeline full, I've got, I work with employee benefits with another group of individuals, and we've put together a team that can go into a business and we can be their employee benefit go-to company for everything. So, we can do voluntary benefits, major medical, 401k profit sharing, and then we can do waste disposal savings, labor cost savings. So, we can get in with one or two of our areas of expertise, and then we can actually be their go-to company so that they can save time and kind of treat us like one of their in-house, representatives that they can lean on.
Okay.
So our job there is to save the HR and admin people a lot of time because they're not having to split up open enrollments. They're not having to go from one company to the next when it comes to employee benefits. So I've kind of put a team together that is each of us are specialized and have a lot of experience in our particular field, but together, we make a pretty powerful company that a business can lean on for all that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. I'll just some backtrack just 1 second. So you were working for about 25 years plus with a food and beverage company, a W-2, right?
Right.
Now you moved to your own business. Like, tell me what made how did you go from that transition? Like, how did you transition and say, hey, I'm going from working for someone to work for myself? Like, what was some of the what was to walk me through that process? Mind, like what your thought process in it more
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't easy. You have a lot of there's a safety net there that you're giving up. The safety net of, well, if I have a rough week or two, in business wise, if this customer cancels this order, or if I don't get this appointment that I need, it's okay because you're on a salary, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at the same time, here I am. I guess I'm 50, so 51 or so when I decided to make this plunge, and I've got three young kids, three young boys. So at the same time, you have the safety net. You also give up a lot of that future income you could be getting by doing things for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally made the decision to, make the leap to being in business for myself because of what I could gain with uncapped income.
Okay.
So when you're working for yourself, it's all uncapped. So you have to believe in yourself and you have to have the confidence to be able to go do that you can get out there and make a name for yourself and do well in business because, if you don't do that eventually, you're only going to get so far working for somebody else. And so, I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel as a W-2 employee. I didn't see the ability to not only have uncapped income, but to also grow an asset that I own. So all the work that I'm doing now is helping me build my own asset. Whereas when you work for somebody else, you help them build their own asset.
That's true. True. So what's been some of the challenges, that you have, overcame, or some of the challenges that you face in doing that, in making that leap?
Well, some of the challenges, number one is, you have to be able to bring people into your team. And to recruit is not easy because you have to get other people to believe in themselves. And so that's the hard part. You can teach someone all day long and you can try and help them believe in themselves of what they can accomplish. But at the same time, once you get off the phone with them, that fear starts to creep in their head about what they're really capable of. So as a coach and a mentor, which is what I have become, I was in my career also. I was a coach and a mentor. I trained salespeople. I worked with suppliers. I did a lot of that. So what I try and do is become that mentor and coach for people that are wanting to do what I just did. So not only am I creating my own business, I'm also trying to help other people, start and create and grow their own companies. So with my insurance agency, I'm bringing people into my fold, into my agency, but they're also starting their own agency. So they're on the same path that I'm, they have the same, same level of what they can accomplish that I currently have. It's just the only difference is I've been doing it longer. That's the only difference. So someone that starts now, we put a plan together. We sit down, a very detailed plan of what all they need to accomplish, what tools we have that they need, what kind of resources they'll need. And, they can't come into business with nothing. You have to be able to start with something. Now you can start small. You can start with a few $100s if you do it right. But you have to have that belief, and you have to be able to get in front of enough people so that your pipeline is full every week. And if your pipeline is not full, then what happens is the rejection that you do get becomes magnified because, if you're only talking to 5 people and 3 of them reject you, that's pretty bad. That can be kind of debilitating. But if you have 50 people you're talking to and only, 25 reject you, that's not a bad week,
Yeah.
So in business, we don't need them all. We just need that, that 15, 20% of those people we talk to that, that can believe in us and believe in our products and believe in our company. And then that's really all we need. And then when we get people to trust us and do business with us, then it's all about referrals. It's about if one person says, "Hey, I like you, Mark, you're good, I like your products, let's do business." They might know 2 or 3 other people that if I ask in the right way, they'll either make a phone call or let me use their name when I call a referral.
So Mark, you mentioned about, part of what you're doing now is getting people to believe in themselves, and you feel like you're a coach and a mentor. Also, But can you tell me a couple of people who have played that role in your life? You know, like this that's helped coach you or mentor you. Um, yeah, just a couple of those people.
Sure. Yeah. Well, there's one guy in the who really was kind of my mentor as a young man when I was starting a business. Uh, and so he's passed away since, but his name was Sim Bird. He was a quarterback at Troy State, won a national championship back in the late 60s, somewhere in there. And he had a way of making you believe in yourself, that you're capable of accomplishing anything. And so he would have sometimes we'd have 6:30 a.m. sales meetings, and I'd try and get out of bed and get to the sales meeting on time and just, dragging and all that. And then finally, you get there and we're all fired up and ready to run through a wall, so uh, but it's guys like that you remember, throughout your life. And he was one that mentored me as a young man. And he wasn't the smartest guy in the world, but he knew how to coach and motivate people.
Yeah.
And he created this atmosphere around our whole team that made us become motivated. You don't motivate someone, you create an atmosphere where they can become motivated.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. So, that's what I try and do. It's tough with everything virtual now. And so, eventually you have to get in front of people, face to face and have meetings. But sometimes the best you can do is by Zoom, like we're doing now. So he was a positive influence in my life. Very, very good guy. Great at building teams, a great coach and mentor. So, that's one. And probably the other one would be my father. He obviously, as a little guy, kind of brought me up and showed me the way and right from wrong and everything. And then I actually worked for my father, all the way through until he retired just in 2009. So, worked for him for a long time. And he really knew how to, same way, he knew how to motivate people, but he also knew how to run a profitable business. He knew how to make us do more with less when we needed to. When we were having a tough year, we would figure out how to do more with less and than trying to spend more money to try and make more money when times are tough. So the thing about a distribution business is you're working on thin margins, very thin margins, and you have a lot of employees, trucks, fuel, insurance. You have all these expenses. So sometimes when times are tough, it's hard to cut. He used to call it's hard to cut bone. You can cut all the meat, you can cut all the fat and the meat you can, but when you start cutting bone, that's when you risk your future growth. If you need 20 trucks which you say we can only afford 15, those 5 trucks that you just are shorted is going to affect your growth over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Because you could lose accounts. You could, when you lose business, sometimes it's magnified because you might lose a customer as well who is a loyal, consumer. So you might lose them for the future too. So I learned a lot from my dad, and from his name was Joe, and then Sim Bird. So I'd say those two were two of my biggest mentors in life. I've had several along the way, but those are the two probably biggest influence in my life in what I did, as a W-2 job, working in a company, and then also has helped me. A lot of those lessons have helped me transition into a 1099 job where you're really dependent upon yourself and your own actions and getting other people to do the same, because when other people don't necessarily work for you and you're not their boss, it's they have to realize that they are their own boss, which makes it even more important that you do the work that needs to be done, because you don't have that steady paycheck coming in. So in order to provide for your family and for your future, it's even more important that you stay on the path and you do the activity needed, and you get what you get ready for. So when you get ready for certain things, then they will be accomplished.
Yeah.
Enough of them.
Yeah, I like that. You get what you get ready for. Hey,
You do.
Mark, let me ask you, I got two more questions for you, and I want two more questions. One, the pandemic, like how did that affect business? Like what unique challenges did that bring about in your business? And then the second question is, like, what do you see? What's your vision for the business?
Yeah. Well, the pandemic really was more fearful than anything, because anytime you're faced with change, and how you have to really adjust your business, it's scary, because you're wondering, how much is this gonna affect my income? But with Symmetry, they really did a great job of kind of turning on a dime and really went to virtual overnight, because Symmetry, their big thing was the in-home meeting. So with life and health insurance. So when I first started, which was January of 2020, it was the in-home meeting. So really for 3 months, I was going to homes and meeting in their home or in their office, or at Applebee's or wherever the client wanted to meet. Because Symmetry's thing was, there's nothing that can really replace that kneecap to kneecap meeting, where you're face to face, and that's where you build the trust. So obviously that couldn't happen much longer with COVID. So they immediately switched to all Zoom or by phone, and they got all their carriers very quickly to go all electronic with their applications. So we were able to go electronic signatures, electronic submits on all applications, and all of our meetings with clients went virtual or by phone. So they did a good job of reacting quickly to that. They changed their pitches or their scripts, that were more geared towards virtual than in home. So I got to give them credit. They really did that, and they only had maybe one down month of the last 2.5 years.
Okay. Awesome.
So they've grown an average of 22% a year since they started in 2009. And they really grew through the pandemic too. So they did a great job with that.
That's awesome. So what's your vision for your company, for your agency? What do you see this becoming? Like, what's your all out, just big vision for your agency?
Well, I'd like to say I have this grand vision, but really, I'd like to just continue to grow the way I am now, and continue to impact people's lives. If you're really only into other people's success rather than your own, that's when you'll be successful. So I try and put, everything I have into my agents and the people I work with, into them being successful. Because, it's with any relationship, somebody has to give first, and if I figure, if I have all these relationships out there and I'm the first one to give, right, then it should be a two-way street. So I tell everyone, if if you meet me halfway, I'll meet you halfway.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna come halfway to you. And I'm gonna be there for you whenever you need me. But if you're not gonna come and meet me halfway, then I'm gonna spend my time on someone who will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really my vision as far as what I'm doing. I'm going to continue what I'm doing with Symmetry, building my agency. Employee benefit team I put together is second to none. I mean, they're great guys. We're all kind of in it together to call on companies kind of as one voice, but yet we all each have our own business, and company that we're with outside of that. So it's kind of like 4 or 5 different individuals in companies coming together to create a whole entity that can be, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So as a whole, we can mean more to a company than each of us can going in individually.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Last question. I know, and I'm just piggybacking on this, and what you're saying about the vision and everything. I know sometimes when I'm talking about vision, I just have people to think about what is it they want to give. Like like what do you envision yourself like giving away? Some people want to, be able to give their employees, great lives where they want to be able to give them opportunities. They want to be able to see, I want to give 1,000 employees the opportunity to, empower themselves financially, or I want to be able to give to my church. I want to be able to make this certain donation to my community. Just like you said, because I think about that too. Like as far as it's not so much about myself, but it's what it is that I want to be able to give. So to be able to give that, you got to be in a certain situation. You got to be in a certain place. So it seems like to me, you got a heart to be able to want to, give people the same opportunity that you have as far as to kind of make their own way and for their work to go into something that's building a legacy, for them.
Right. Right.